So if you scrolled on the internet today, you probably saw this video.
Can you call your supervisor?
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
Now, like most of y'all, whenever I saw this video, I was instantly shocked. Not too shocked because honestly, I feel like we've seen a lot of stuff like this happen a lot in the past few years. Obviously, this has been a pretty prevalent thing that's been going on in America. But when you see something like this happening, you're still shocked. But then while I was on the video, I decided to go to the comment section and see what other people were saying about it. And I saw a lot of comments that was saying like, he brought this on himself. Oh, he got what he deserves. But it wasn't just like one person. It was like, as I was scrolling through all the comments, that's all I saw. And I was like, I wonder why they would say that. That seems like pretty mean and a pretty harsh take to have on something like this. And one comment directed me to why I could watch the whole video. So that's what I did. And then I immediately understood why people were saying this. So if you haven't seen the full video of this happening, basically what happened is the guy got pulled over for not having his headlights on, which he seemed to be pretty aggravated about, which honestly, maybe I would be too if it was broad daylight and I got pulled over for not having my headlights on. And he was pretty combative with the police officer. Now, I don't think the police officer had a lot of prejudice vibes in the video. He didn't seem like he was just out to get the guy. He definitely put him over on something that I don't think he should have been pulled over for, but he didn't seem like a crazy police officer who was just out to get somebody that day. Like I said, he was pretty much combative through the whole video. Why are you pulling me over, yelling at the police? Pretty much all the stuff we always see when somebody has this, I know my rights, yelling at the police type of thing. And at one point when the cop was trying to ask him to get out the car, he ended up slamming the door and refusing to open the door, which then led the police to eventually knock out his window. See, in a situation like this, ultimately, I still do feel like the cop was wrong. And why? Because I feel like as a cop, you are there to de-escalate the situation. You aren't there to start a fight if somebody is not obeying your commands exactly in the way you want them to. The reason I say he escalated it past the point where it had to be was that first, after he broke out the window, you could see him ask him to get out the car one more time, and then he punched him, which I just feel like was completely uncalled for. He didn't need to do that at all. And then two, he actually punched him one time when he was on the ground and his hands was already behind his back. So I think in both cases like that, that was just unnecessary use of force. And clearly in both cases, I think it was clear that he wasn't in danger. Now for the first punch, and don't call me Uncle Tom, I give him some leeway because he's in the car with his hands down. So you don't know if he's reaching for something or anything. Maybe he was scared that way, but honestly, he probably wasn't. But the second one, I just feel like it's no excuse for that. While the cops were definitely wrong in what they did, I feel like the guy could have definitely avoided this by just being compliant. See, the thing about it, we all know some police just have a power trip. And some police will really mess with you if you don't follow their commands. It happens all the time. And there are a lot of times where this has happened where there were no cameras involved. I've heard a lot of horror stories about people being slammed on cars, unlawfully searched, all types of stuff. But honestly, the way to get out of these situations is not by yelling at the cop and fighting him. As y'all can see, I'm a black dude with dreads. And what type of car do I drive? Yeah, you see it. The most stereotypical black car ever. I drive a Charger. And there was two things my dad told me when I first got this car that has still stuck with me to this day. One, he told me to always ride clean. Always make sure you got your insurance. Always make sure you got your registration, inspection sticker. We had those in Louisiana. Some states y'all don't have them, but always make sure all of that is up to date and right. Just in case if they pull you over, they don't have a reason to question you any further. Also, always ride clean, guns, no dope, all that type of stuff, but that's pretty much common sense. Second, he always told me, if you get pulled over and a cop asks you to do something, unless they're trying to demasculate you or just asking you to do something that is gonna put you in direct danger, just comply. And he told me to do that because it's easier to fight your battle in court instead of fighting your battle on the street. Police brutality is not a new issue. This has been happening ever since time, to be honest. And the reality of it is, if a cop is truly out to get you, if you try and go against them, they will shoot you without a second thought and probably get away with it. The fact of the matter is, obviously the legal system is not always built for us to win. It is not always justice served whenever we're in there. But at the end of the day, it's better to live another day than to be unalived on the street over nothing. And honestly, when we see these police brutalities, a lot of these things that happen were literally over nothing, over minor disturbances, similar to the one that happened here. It seems like he needs to watch Chris Rock's special on how not to get beat up by the cops.
And wondered, is he about to kick my ass? Well, wonder no more. If you follow these easy tips, you'll be fine. When you see flashing police lights in your mirror, stop immediately. Everybody knows, if the police have to come and get you, they're bringing an ass with them. When an officer approaches your car, be polite.
Is there a problem, officer?
And stay in your car with your hands on the wheel.
What the f*** you want, motherfucker?
Unless you want your ass kicked. Now let's review. Obey the law. Use common sense. Stop immediately. Turn that shit off. Be polite. Shut the fuck up. Get a white friend. And last but not least, don't ride with a mad woman.
All the things Chris Rock was saying, he did all the things wrong. And does that mean that the guy was completely wrong? No. But again, there are certain steps that you could take to make sure things like this don't happen and that you are not a victim to stuff like this. Obviously, sometimes stuff is just completely out of your control. And if it's out of your control, then you're just wrong. But if there's stuff that you could do on the pulled over guy's side, I don't know what that would be framed as, to de-escalate the situation, then do that. That's pretty much the main takeaway from this video. If you get pulled over, be compliant if possible. Don't force the cops to have to do something to you, especially if you don't have to. Anyway, that's it for this video. If you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to me today. Watch some of my other videos. Y'all might like them. Appreciate it.